Hello, ladies. Healthy Empowered Women. So excited to talk to you about tonight's topic and share with you a little bit more from a client of mine. She's still working with me, which is really awesome. We've been through a really cool journey for the last probably, I think it's about 3.5 months. I just wanted to introduce you all. Welcome, Rachel. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
I can't remember how you found me, or did you come to a masterclass or?
I did come to a masterclass, but how I actually found you was a friend of mine had liked something of yours,
Yeah.
and so for some reason it popped up on my feed, and I was just like, "This is meant to be for me." So yeah, I did the masterclass, and that was it.
Can I ask you what the reason was that you decided to do the nutrition and mindset program?
Yep. I didn't realize at the time just how bad my physical and mental health was, but I was in a state. I was constantly fatigued. I just felt like I was walking around as if I was like a piece of concrete. Like I was just so heavy and drained and just like dull and grey. And I had intense headaches every single day. Like there was not a single day without a headache. My body had all fluid retention. I had zero energy ever. My mood was really low. So that was the kind of all the physical stuff. But the emotional stuff, I had a very bad relationship with, I shouldn't say bad, I'm not saying that word anymore. I had an unhealthy relationship with food, but food was the only thing that I knew how to get comfort from. And whenever I was stressed or emotional or anything, whether it was a good emotions or bad emotions, I would use food for everything. It's the only way I could feel or soothe myself. I could not ever say no, even though I ate relatively healthily for my meals in terms like if I was at work, I could never say no to a snack or something being offered to me, or if I would go out and then that there was an option to eat something like a bit more indulgent, I would just completely binge and overeat. And then I was just riddled with guilt and shame. The mental side of that for me was really unhelpful. Yeah.
Mm. Do you find like we can get used to living, like being a certain way? We just think that's what it is. That's
Yeah.
we have to live and that's how our body is. This is it. Like
Yeah.
this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. It was, I had accepted that was the only way that I was ever going to be. It was the only way that I felt. Like I remember you asking me when was a time when you felt energetic or light, and I couldn't name it. I said never. I've never felt like that. I just thought that was me. I thought this is how I'm going to live. And so for that reason, I never had hope or future, like dreams or prospects or anything, because I was like, why? When I feel like this, actually don't care if I fell off the perch tomorrow because I've got zero quality of life. I literally did not think that life could be any different. I thought doing the program with you that I might think a little bit differently about food, but I had no idea that I could be released from all the stuff that I have.
Mhm.
And if someone had tried to tell me, it would have been like, whatever, you can't do that in 3 months.
Well,
You can.
it's interesting hearing you go back to that time and you obviously remember clearly how you used to think and feel.
Yeah.
And what I was trying to say earlier is that acceptance. Okay, this is what I'll learn to live like this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My thinking was so black and white. Like there was just no other option. It was, that was it. That was me.
So what changes did you experience in the program?
To try and put words on my changes or experiences is really impossible. I've had physical changes a lot because one, I was able, just before I started working with you, I got given a big list of intolerances. And I knew that there was no way that I would be able to get through those without the help of someone. So with your help, I was able to start cutting out those foods or limiting those foods. So my physical health, I think, has really benefited from that. The biggest change is my mindset because I now come from everything before was a decision about I can't do this because it was all restriction and it was all guilt and shame. So any motivation I had, it was because it was based on the foundation of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. So I need to eat healthily to improve myself, or I need to exercise to improve myself. I was always like chasing and running and working so hard and overtime to not feel those feelings, I think. And so my food decisions and all of that were based on guilt and shame because if I didn't do those things, it confirmed that I was not good enough or I was not strong enough, I was weak, unworthy, all of those things.
Mm.
So, but my mindset now, you were able to teach me to practice compassion and kindness and respect and love for myself. And now I can say that I truly do love myself and appreciate myself. So now when I make decisions, it's not based on restriction. It's based on, but I love myself and I treasure myself. And so I only want to do what is good for me and what's serving my body. And because I've started to feel like the physical changes, I'm starting to feel a bit better. So that like fuels me more and gives me more power to be like, no, I'm noticing the changes. I'm not going to do that. Like, because I respect my body now, I'm able to easily make a decision and say, actually, no, that's not going to serve me. Like, I'm not going to feel good after that. It's not based on I shouldn't have it or I can't have it, or it's based on, no, I've worked so hard and I've got this vision of where I want to be and how I want to feel. And I know that's attainable now. So all the decisions that I make are based on continuing to get to that point.
Mm. Yeah,
Mm.
that's so awesome. I feel like there's a lot of women out there that don't even realize how much shame and guilt is involved in our eating. It's so heavy. It's something that we're confronting and dealing with on a day-to-day basis and don't realize how much it's actually controlling and
Yeah.
affecting.
Absolutely. Like I had no idea, like really no idea. And then when I was put under the microscope, it was all in my head, but I felt like I was being judged about my food decisions and things like that. But I was able to work through that stuff and it wasn't true, but it really magnified to me just how much my emotions and how I felt about myself was purely based on the food that I ate and the exercise that I did. My existence in the world was based on the guilt and the shame and like the anger that I had about making the wrong food decisions. And honestly, I had no idea how bad it was. And just, I think for me, more so, I knew that I had guilt and thing around food, but I didn't realize the effect that then has on my whole worth and identity and existence and all of that. That was the eye-opening thing for me.
Seeing how it's connected to your confidence, yourself.
Yeah.
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 So true, right? We don't realize how much it's all intertwined.
No,
As you start to work through all those layers and you start to heal that relationship with food, you're actually healing your relationship with yourself as well.
definitely. That was, I think, one of the biggest surprises and takeaways for me out of this was I didn't expect that I just thought that I was going to be able to say no to foods that I needed to. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you didn't do the program, where do you think you would be right now?
Ju- For me, it's actually scary for me to think because my health was really bad and my mental health was really bad. I'd been given these intolerances and my body was already really inflamed. So now I would be 3 months down the track of even more inflammation and my adrenals being shot and over exercising and on top of that, so would not only my physical health would not have only been much worse, but my mental state would have been so bad because every time I would have eaten something that was linked to one of my intolerances, I would have had so much guilt and shame and anger linked to that. So I actually it would very scared to think about where I would have been without the program. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, I'm very glad you did it.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
What do you feel like your biggest breakthrough you experienced in the program?
It's definitely my relationship with myself. I think it was going inward, learning to trust myself and slow down, finding my intuition and just connecting with myself and knowing that I have the answers. And I remember one session you sat and you repeated and you said, "You have the answers. You have the answers." Now I do know that I have the answers. So now I feel like whatever faces me, I can deal with it because I've now got the tools, so many tools that I feel like I'm able to cope with whatever comes my way. And I know now how to process emotion and soothe myself and how to cope and how to get through. Whereas before I was just living in a state of dissociation and just numb. I was just running and avoiding. Now I'm so connected and I'm so in line, and all of my decisions are based on looking after myself and protecting myself and growing myself and like a vision. I have hope now and I can see forward. Whereas before it was just darkness. All I saw was black.
I guess when you're in that state, it's very hard to be vulnerable and trust people enough to say just how dark things can feel or look, or
Yeah,
really feeling when we're stuck. It's like, how do you articulate that and share that with someone? That's a big thing to say to people.
for sure.
Listening to you, I don't think I've realized that the depths of where you've come from, and putting a light to that, because I think we have a fear to see all the darkness because we feel like it's going to take over or just
Sure.
suffocate us. And
Yeah.
you did that maybe from knowing you weren't alone, uh,
Yeah.
and because you were improving, to be able to see, oh, there actually is. I can look at my darkness. I don't have to eat it. It doesn't have to be with guilt and shame. Like, it's actually parts of myself that I can see and know that those parts of myself may not be glamorous, but then
Mhm.
that's okay. We're not meant to be perfect human beings.
Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah. And before I just felt so segmented. Like I had the Rachel that I presented to the world and how I showed up in life and the Rachel that everyone sees and perceives. But then I had this internal Rachel that was so completely different. It's not easy to let that Rachel show because, yeah, I was just so ashamed of that person. And there was just so much anger in her to face that stuff and voice that stuff. It means you actually have to feel that stuff
Yeah.
because I was just living in this state of dissociation. Like that's how I was keeping myself safe from not feeling that stuff. But with you knowing, knowing that you had walked the same path and you're so open and vulnerable with your story and what's helped you. And I felt this is someone who's been here. She knows these feelings. This is what's worked for her. So I can trust her and I can trust this process. Like the amount of times that I was like, I can't do this. This is too hard. This is making it so much worse. Like I was in a state a lot of time, but I was like, trust, Melissa, trust the process. Like just trust, be patient. And now, I don't know, there was a point where things just clicked and I'm like, whoa.
So, like, we're designed to be comfortable, and as soon as
Yeah,
we feel comfortable, like, "Oh, I'm out, I'm out."
yeah,
And
yeah,
but I think intuitively it's not, "I've got this, I can keep going, I can do this."
yeah.
Because you would have had to have felt that. It wasn't just the trust in me, it was actually the trust in yourself that you could do that. And I think that's probably when I was telling you, "You've got the
And
answer."
I think the biggest thing that kept me going was I don't want to feel this way anymore. I just don't want to feel this way anymore. And I can see through working with you that there is another way and I don't have to feel this way. And you were a guide that was giving me the tools to help to show me that I don't have to feel this way.
I really appreciate you sharing and being vulnerable. So, what would you say to someone who's experiencing anything like they can relate to what you've talked about, or they've experienced something similar? What would you say to that person that's sitting in maybe a dark place, mentally, physically, emotionally, food wise? What would
I would say, one, if you're not sure, do a masterclass because I can guarantee that you'll take something out of that, like that will click for you. But the minute that you talk to you, that you get to do like a health audit, I know that you will think, I want to work with Melissa. Um, if anyone is in like a state of wanting to feel better or wanting to change their behavior or feeling stuck, but like the want's there, but they don't know how, 1000% do it. Like I remember when I did the masterclass, I was like, I will do the masterclass because it's free, but I can't afford to do coaching. But then after I had my initial call with you, I was like, I don't care what it's going to take. I have to do this coaching. And so I really got out of my comfort zone. Like I had to be vulnerable and I asked my dad for a loan of the money. And that was really hard for me. And I've made sacrifices like this 3 months so that I can afford it. Honestly, it is the best money. I've had amazing experiences in my life, but this is the best money that I've ever spent. And I said to dad, when I called him the other day, I said, Dad, how you loan me that money? It was the best money that you've ever spent. And yeah, it's just, you will not regret it. Whether you have like massive changes or gains like I have, it will help in some way. I don't think that there's anyone that it could go through this program without having a transformation or feeling empowered or even connected. Like I've got now a beautiful little community of ladies that I'm part of, and I've made some really beautiful connections. I feel like, and I'm not saying this just because I'm like on live. I speak about, I'm a peer support worker. I work in a mental health ward and I speak about this program daily. And I just want to get on the rooftops and like shout, ladies, anyone, please do this program, please.
thank you. I feel very grateful. Now we get to stay friends and keep working together. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah. I can't wait to continue my journey and just see what the future unfolds. Because I just feel every week, every session, every day, I just approach the world with like curiosity and inquisitiveness now about myself. And I'm like, what else can I learn? What else is out there for me? Like, I feel capable now and wanting to do stuff. And yeah, I would never have had that before.
That's so beautiful. Mhm. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. If anyone's got any questions for Rachel, wants to ask a little bit about, I'm sure if she feels comfortable, she will yeah,
Definitely.
be open to any questions anyone has. Yeah, awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Rachel. See you later.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.